Thanks again for you guys being here. Just want to take a minute to once again thank the students and the fans that came out Saturday night. It means a lot to us, everyone that was in that stadium, and to honor Howard. And hopefully we helped celebrate that night with him by giving him a victory. When you go back and you look at the tape, kind of like I thought after the game, but you look at it with a level head and take the emotions out, the story of the game really came down to explosive plays and winning the turnover battle. We gave our offense, if you include the onside kick, we gave them three additional opportunities to drive the ball, and then obviously Dijon had a pick six, which helps the momentum. There's another drive that won't be talked about very much that I do want to point out. There was a point in the second half in the third quarter where the score was 33-14, and Tulsa was getting some momentum. And our offense did a great job of putting together a drive to go ahead and get the 40 points, and we needed it at that point because Tulsa does have powerful weapons, and to be able to get that done meant a lot to us. There's still a lot to work on. Our punt protection needs work. They obviously got a piece of a punt and got close on another. Some kickoff return communication issues when they start hitting some shorter pooch-style type of kickoffs to us, so got to get better there. Jay Warren's fumble, we may have gotten away with one there. I don't know that their guy was offside, so we got to make sure we're continuing to protect the football. And defense, our two-back fits, which we'll face right away this week against Wyoming. So still a lot to work on, but a lot to build off of as well. Players of the game, we did announce, if you guys didn't hear it, for us, Quez Johnson for offense, Brandon Bryant and Dijon for defense. Special teams is Lucky Whitehead. The scout team guys are Maddock, Falk, and Dan Lozendeer, the brother of David. So those are our players of the game. From an injury update, really nothing new to report. So there was no injuries that we see holding anyone out of this game. Lucky was the one that got off the field fairly slow. It just turned out to be a thigh contusion, and he was in good shape at practice yesterday. Taking a look at, as we've looked at Wyoming now for 24 hours, what jumps out is really exactly what I expected. Coach Bowl is a tremendous football coach. He just got his 26-game winning streak broken by Oregon, losing against Oregon, which obviously is one of the best teams in the country. But you can see his discipline and his style of football being taken to very well by the Wyoming players. They've also got a 25-member senior class. You can feel that leadership. Those wins against against Montana and Air Force, those are legitimate wins. They're a confident football team at home. We recognize that. Defensively, some guys that stand out for them, their defensive end who got some all-conference honors, and you can see why, in Eddie Yarbrough. He's an active player, long, rangy, physical. And then linebacker number one, Jordan Stanton, who was the conference player of the week a couple weeks ago against Air Force, didn't play as much against Oregon because they were in nickel quite a bit, but he's a good football player, a junior college transfer from, I believe, Pierce. Offensively, they've got a fifth-year quarterback. 33, a senior wide receiver, is probably their top guy. In Dominic, I don't want to mispronounce it, I believe it's Rufrin. We feel like their biggest playmaker is running back number 7, DJ May. He is fast, physical, big play threat at any point. He had a screen there in the third quarter against Oregon that's as good as anyone you'll see against a defense like that with that kind of speed. And Sean Wick reminds me of their version of Tony Moore. He's their starting running back. He's a workhorse. He's going to fight for every yard he gets. Their special teams are very sound. I had mentioned that we need to get our punt protection in order, and they blocked a punt against Montana, who runs the same style as punt as us. So that'll be a huge point of emphasis. And then finally, before I turn it over to you guys, we know what 72-20 on the sidelines means. They flash it all over. That's the elevation of the stadium. Those are things that we're already addressing. And really the bottom line is, from all the research you do, which we've done, me and John Burnside have talked about this game for a long time. There's some hokey things you can do, but what it really comes down to is the major effects don't take place until well after 24 hours having been there. We will have played a game and gone, but you do have to hydrate because the water vapor in your lungs at that high altitude does leave faster. You have a tendency to dehydrate faster. So we'll work hard on hydrating our kids, and that preparation has already started as of today. So feel like we've got a good plan to handle the altitude and play a good football game. So with no other comments, the floor is yours.
You were very impressed with Quez the other day. What did you Saturday night? What did you think after you saw the tape?
It's really what I thought it was. He was very accurate. He was active. He led the team the way you'd want him to lead. Those are things you feel on the sideline. But the film just confirmed to me what we're all seeing, in my opinion, is a guy that's getting a little bit better each week. And since he didn't play against Alabama, it was kind of hard for some of you guys to see, but we saw that improvement coming throughout the course of the week in practice.
After an emphasis on mental errors for the first couple of weeks,
Yeah.
I mean, were you as refreshed watching the tape as you thought you'd be? Did they do as much right as it seemed like?
Well, it's never as good as you think it is, just like I said a couple weeks ago, or never as bad as you think it is. There were some disappointing errors. The punt that they got a piece of was a flat-out turn the guy loose, a mistake that should not happen, and that's something that blocked punts can lose games. I think we all understand that, and we've got to get that fixed and fixed quickly. So that part was disappointing. There was still some opportunities on some runs where, maybe didn't make the perfect read or didn't finish a block. We got Quez hit one time, from over our right tackle, and Minnemeyer would like to have that rep back. So there's still a lot to work on. But we all talked in here last week, we knew, and everyone in here knew, I think everyone in the stadium knew that they were going to throw quick passes towards the sideline. And they did it a lot. And for the most part, we answered the call and made those tackles. And you could see the things that Raekwon Williams helped us prove against Amari Cooper going back a week ago. Our kids improved that drastically. So there's a lot to be proud of as we move forward. Nothing, Chuck.
You never want to see anybody put the ball in the ground. That's twice that Jay Warren's done it in 3 games.
It is. It's a concern. He had, was it the first game? Was it Nebraska that he had one late? I believe it was, and then certainly this one. And we did get away with it, and ball security is a huge concern. Like I said, by the way it was called, our 3 turnovers to get that our 3 takeaways to their none, that's a huge factor in the game. At that point, I believe it was either 17-0 or 17-7, and if they hadn't called that offsides penalty, they're going in from inside the 20. So that's a huge momentum swing, and it's a huge concern that we've got to continue to work with him on.
Are you worried? Those things, it seems like they tend to feed off each other because now defenses see that they can get the ball out of them, so they're kind of going for it. Is that a concern?
No, not yet. Not at this point. We did. All of us coaches had conversations with Jay over the last 24 hours about it, and both of those fumbles were after catches. He is, and now we kind of went back and looked at it. From a handoff, he's high and tight. From a catch, for whatever reason, he's not catching and tucking the same way. So we've got some very concrete things that we can work with him on that hopefully will help make a difference.
How much were you impressed by the defense, just understanding its mistakes and then obviously implementing them?
What's fun for me is you have an older group of secondary guys, and when you're coming in here as a new staff, they've been through, we've talked about it probably too much, they've had a bunch of coaching changes throughout their career, and for them to buy in and make that kind of improvement the way that we believe, the philosophy that we believe in from a fundamental standpoint, it's a credit to their character. And so I'm pretty proud of the fact that they took the coaching and then applied it to the field. So all that does is help us moving forward that, we were hired here for a reason. We have done this for a while, so you buy in and you got our best chance to win. So it helps us a lot moving forward.
You had 6 plays of 33 yards or more, which is amazing, kind of. I mean, is that just guys doing their job, or is it over and above where they're breaking things?
I think Brian called an outstanding game. I got to give Brian Wright a lot of credit. His combination of run game and play action, and then the routes and the execution. Jensen and Dukes to make 2 great plays, to make big bombs, and a couple others as well. But Brian called an outstanding game. He mixed the ball around. He did some things. He put some players in different positions than they had been in the past to, really showcase what they are best at. And that I'll open up the opportunity for kids to make plays that we all know they can, and they did it on Saturday night.
Do you think of this as a big play offense, or is it all? I mean, how do you classify the kind of offense that you
I make a lot of correlation to Auburn in their style. Auburn, in my opinion, has done the best job that I've seen in person of a physical, truly physical spread offense. That's what we want to get to, where we have the capability to control the clock and run the ball. And then that success, if we get to that point where we feel we're really making some headway in the run game, then it opens up the play action. And when you can do that out of spread and mix up your tempo, it puts teams in a bind. That's where we were last year. You load the box, but you're in spread. That's a problem. And it just becomes a numbers game. And so that's the direction I see us going.
Quez carries it, yeah, go ahead.
Was this the defensive line that you expected to see after, giving up, a number of yards the first 2 weeks?
It is. And Brandon Bryant, who I believe you guys talked to earlier, we spend every Monday, and me and him get the opportunity to meet individually and go through every single play. He's asked for that extra coaching. And my background being D-line. It is very active, and for Brandon to make those plays behind the line of scrimmage, for Trey Hendrickson and Hayden Nagel to get some pressure on the quarterback. I mean, my mind's going through plays. Denzel to react on some boots very well. Robinson, Eugene running down plays. All 7 or 8 of those guys that rotated in were active, and that's what we expected, and it was good to see it come to fruition on Saturday night.
Quez carries were down a little bit. I mean, would you rather see him run less maybe than he did last year just to make sure he stays healthy?
Yeah, there's no question. You only want to take so many hits on your starting quarterback. The touchdown run was nice, and he read it well and pulled the ball when he should have. I think teams are starting to recognize and know that he is a running threat. Just the fact that he is a running threat will change what we see from defenses. And, yeah, I think to run the ball with him too much would be not a wise choice, but there's times where we're going to have to use his talents and his capabilities to move the ball forward.
Building off of that answer, just because he is a running threat, do you guys see more single coverage on the outside going back looking at the film? You get Stochek over 150, Willie's big play, and Lucky White having another big game.
Not as it's not as simple as that. It's what you see is a lot more quarters coverage, which you have safeties that are really in a two responsibility mode. If they feel run, they're going to help. They feel pass, they're going to cut to 1. So you're getting into really more of a quarters even shell in the back end.
You mentioned the elevation. Have you played or coached in a similar elevation? I'm sure you have.
Closest, I don't know how high it is, but I've been to Boulder a couple times, and truthfully, I felt no effects. And when we were there, yeah, I wasn't playing either. I get it. But no, we were at Iowa State, and we were just starting to turn the corner, and we beat what was a very good Colorado team. And we didn't talk about it. We told the kids, here's what you do to help the effects of the altitude, and we just played football. So we're aware of it. We're going to address it, but we're not going to overkill it.
Does it affect the tempo that you run the offense at?
Not really. You look at, there's times where if you're really watching, our tempo does vary quite a bit. There's times where while we're no huddle, we're still snapping the ball around that 10, 9, 8 second mark. And then there's times after certain plays, or if we have it scripted, where we're going to go as fast as we possibly can. So I think we still have the capability to mix that up. What you may see is a little more rotation. If we feel guys getting gassed, we're going to be smart. We're not going to bury our heads in the sand and deny the fact that we need to rotate if we need to.
That's probably going to be the same on both sides of the ball.
Without a doubt, yeah.
It could be more of a factor on defense, and that you're not really as deep on defense as you are on offense, it seems like.
There's positions, I think that's a fair statement to make. What makes us deeper on defense is when we start going to nickel, dime, and what we call dollar, which is the 3-corner stuff that you saw on Saturday night. That deepens us at the linebacker position. The growth of Raekwon Williams certainly helps the depth of our position. So we're deeper than we were. When you factor in freedom, the growth of Grant Helm, yes, there's no question we have less depth over there, but we have enough where we feel comfortable cross-training and rotating in.
Have you thought about the ceiling for Quez? I mean, how good can this guy be? He looks, even watching Ryan Tannehill yesterday and compared to the accuracy of Quez on Saturday night, it's amazing almost.
He's come a long way since I've walked in the door. I think you guys saw him in person certainly last year from the film I saw, and it's hard to tell when you're not in person. He's in a really good place. Him and Brian have really grown in their relationship. It's fun to watch those two work together. Very fun. And they were never in a bad place. But to see those guys work together and discuss the plan and have fun together. It's a good thing to see right now, and that never wavered during that 2-game stretch to start off the season. He's in a place right now where he'll continue to get better each week, and it's hard to think about what the ceiling could be.
You know, I'm sure, Coach, it's one thing to play well in your home opener
Mm-hmm.
in front of your fans, but to go the long distance, to take
Yep.
the altitude. How much will it say for you guys to replicate the type of performance this Saturday?
It'll be huge to be able to put the win away. They're getting a lot of pats on the back on campus right now, and everyone's feeling good, but we have a game to prepare for. And like I've kind of told you guys, I work hard at being the same guy every day. You know, when I come in here after a loss or a win, and yesterday was the same Sunday. They came in and we had our lifting schedule, we had our meeting schedule, we had our scrimmage with the developmental guys, and we're going to remain the same, and we'll tweak things as we need to make them better. But let's prepare the same way we did for last week's game this week as we go there, and recognize we have a 4-hour flight, and we've got plans on making sure they move around on the 4-hour flight. I want our kids to know that we're working hard to be prepared for those things so they can perform at their best.
Is that an elevation thing, or is that just a?
It's a 4-hour flight thing. You know, when we had that plan in place when I was at a previous institution, and we flew from there to Hawaii. So a few hours longer, and just to make sure the kids didn't stiffen up, cramp up, blood clots, those kind of things. I mean, you want to make sure that after an hour or so they get up and move around. We'll kind of do it in waves and drive Katrina crazy if she's trying to sleep on the plane.
Thanks for the warning.
You mentioned your punting
Mhm.
concerns, but you
Yeah.
also missed another field goal.
We did, yeah. We went into a tackle over. We had a situation where our holder wasn't available, so we had Jensen Stoshak in the game. So again, a lot of excuses. We need to make that field goal, but we didn't. And a new holder, there's certainly some things we got to work through. He had to hit through the laces, but great kickers hit through laces, especially at that distance. So good thing is he came right back, and not only did he make the rest of his kicks, although they were fairly chip shot type kicks. He had the one field goal in PATs. He hit them well, he hit them high, he hit them clean. So I feel good about Greg.
Where is Landon right now?
He's still, you know, working back off a groin pull. He's not quite 100%. So we're going to be smart with him, especially with Greg in a good place.
Any decision yet on red shirts, especially for your quarterback?
Not at all. We'll go all the way through the season, and as we start getting later into the season, if we were approaching someone getting their red shirt pulled off, we'd have long conversations. You know, the good thing about a red shirt, it's not a good thing, but let's talk about Reggie. I couldn't tell you how many snaps Reggie played last year. But the unfortunate happens to Reggie in the Alabama game, and he's got that red shirt in his pocket, and he gets the year back. So to me, first off, the choice is going to be made for the team, but we're not going to disregard someone's future without having a conversation as you really get past the halfway point of the season.
Is it fun to get a guy like Maddox in the game?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, the kid's response on the sideline just kind of, you know, it was a stamp of what I thought was real, that they really enjoy being around each other, and not just Maddox, and then for him to get the quarterback power for a first down was fun. Yeah, it means a lot, you know, and that's the fun thing too, is to get some other kids in the game to get them that experience, to get them the feel of the game.
How did Driscoll take that decision?
Oh, he knows exactly where we are. I mean, right now the red shirt is on Driscoll. If we pull the red shirt off of Driscoll, it's got to be for significant reason and or reps. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.